All right. Imagine this. Your D&D party, right? You've finally cornered the dungeon boss.
And yeah, the big moment.
Exactly. And then bam, the floor just vanishes under your fighter. Poof, gone.
Oof. Classic. Or maybe, like, you reach for a torch on the wall. Seems totally normal.
Yeah, just a torch.
And Dylan-lizing. Little needle pops out, pricks your finger.
We've all been there, haven't we? Those moments where, some random object or a trap you didn't see coming just completely throws a wrench in your plans.
Definitely. But what if you really got the mechanics behind it?
That's the thing. Knowing the actual official D&D rules for objects, traps, even poisons, diseases,
Yeah.
madness, it can seriously level up your game.
For sure. Whether you're a player just trying to survive or, a DM trying to build those really memorable challenges.
Right. And that's exactly what we're plunging into today, a proper deep dive.
Yep. We've got the core rulebooks right here, and we're going to dissect these bits that sometimes get overlooked.
Think of it as your masterclass in how the game thinks about the world. The stuff you touch, the dangers lurking.
And the consequences, yeah. Our mission today is basically to give you those insights so you can handle this stuff with more confidence, maybe more creativity, too.
You got it. I mean, D&D's huge, right?
Yeah.
It's easy for these details to get lost between spells and attacks. But understanding them, it empowers you. As a player, you start seeing things differently. Like, that door looks tough, but the rules say wood is AC,
Exactly. And for DMs, you can craft some seriously devious stuff that actually feels fair because it follows the logic of the game.
So we're going to break it all down, nice and clear, lots of examples, get those light bulbs switching on.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's dive in. First up, objects.
Right, objects. The first thing to grasp, and it's really just common sense, is that the rules say if you have enough time and the right tools, you can basically destroy any destructible object.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right? A dwarf with a pickaxe isn't going to be stopped by a wooden door forever.
But like my rogue's dagger probably isn't taking down a stone wall in one hit.
Exactly. That's the common sense part. So what is an object in the rules? We're not talking whole castles here.
No, that would be complicated.
Right. An object for these rules is a discrete inanimate item. So a window pane, a door, a sword lying there, a book, a chest. You get the idea.
Individual things, not like the whole building or a cart.
Correct. Buildings and vehicles are complex structures made of objects. When we talk object stats, we mean these individual items.
Okay, got it. So smaller stuff. What happens when, time is short? We need to break down that barricade now.
That's when the DM might bring in stats, specifically armor class AC and hit points HP.
Like monsters.
Pretty much. It's how hard it is to damage the object and how much damage it can take before it, breaks or is destroyed. And they can have immunities, resistances, vulnerabilities too.
AC for a door. Okay, explain that. Is it like dodging?
No, not quite dodging.
Oh.
It's about how hard the material is, how difficult it is to actually land a damaging blow. The player's handbook has a neat table, object armor class. Yeah. So something really flimsy, like cloth, paper, rope. That's AC 11. Pretty easy to cut or tear.
Right, makes sense. Low AC.
Then you go up. Crystal, glass, ice, AC 13. Still breakable, but a bit tougher.
Okay.
Wood or bone. That's AC 15. Feels more solid.
Yeah, standard door material maybe.
Could be. Stone jumps up to AC 17. Getting pretty tough now.
Okay.
Iron or steel, AC 19. Think swords, armor, strong gate.
Right, that's hard to damage. And what about the really tough stuff? Fantasy metals.
Yep. Mithril is AC 21. And adamantine, that's super hard stuff, AC 23.
Whoa. Okay, so trying to bash down an adamantine door with a regular sword.
Probably not going to work very well. It changes your strategy, right? Do you try to smash it? Find another way. Use a specific spell.
It makes you think. Okay, so AC is how hard to hit, then HP is how much damage it takes.
Exactly. Hit points measure its structural integrity, how much punishment it can soak up. Generally, tougher materials and bigger things have more HP. But the rules also say sometimes destroying a small key part might be enough, like breaking the hinges on a gate instead of the whole gate. There's an object hit points table, too, based on size and resilience.
Okay, let's look at that. Tiny objects, like a bottle or a lock.
Right. If it's fragile, maybe just 2 HP, like 1d4.
Yeah.
If it's resilient, maybe 5 HP, 2d4. You could smash a fragile bottle easily.
Totally. Small stuff, like a chest or a loot.
Fragile might be 3 HP, 1d6. Resilient maybe 10 HP, 3d6. A sturdy chest needs a few good hits.
Okay, medium. like a barrel or a chandelier.
Fragile, maybe 4 HP, 1d8. Resilient, you're looking at around 18 HP, 48. Takes a bit more effort.
And large things, a cart or like a big 10 by 10 window.
Fragile, maybe 5 HP, 1d10. Resilient could be up around 27 HP, 5d10.
Okay, that gives you a good sense of scale. Do you focus fire on the tough bit or look for a weaker spot?
Those are the tactical choices, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what about really huge things? Giant statues, castle walls?
Yeah, tracking HP for a whole wall sounds tedious.
It can be. The rules say for huge and gargantuan objects, normal weapons might not do much anyway. The DM can just decide how long it takes to break through.
Makes sense narratively.
Or if you want to track damage, you can break it into small sections. Like track the HP of a statue's leg. Destroy the leg, maybe the whole statue topples.
Ah, clever.
Yeah.
Focusing on critical points. What are damage types? Does it matter if I use a sword versus a mace?
Big time. First off, all objects are immune to poison and psychic damage.
Right.
They don't have bodies or minds in that way.
Okay, good baseline.
But yeah, other types matter. Bludgeoning, like from a mace, is great for smashing brittle stuff like stone or maybe wood.
Yeah.
Not great for cutting rope, though.
Right.
Slashing or piercing, good for rope, cloth. Less good against solid stone.
Fire. Lightning.
Very effective against flammable stuff, obviously. Paper, cloth, maybe dry wood. Cold might shatter glass. A pickaxe is good for stone, but maybe not a fibrous tree. It encourages thinking about the right tool.
So instead of just I attack the door, it's I use my maul to try and splinter the wood. Adds flavor.
Exactly. And it might actually be more effective according to the rules. Now, one more thing for objects. Damage threshold.
Damage threshold. What's that?
It's extra resilience, usually for really big, tough things. Castle walls, reinforced gates. An object with a damage threshold is immune to all damage unless a single hit deals damage equal to or greater than the threshold.
Whoa. So lots of little hits do nothing.
Nothing at all. It's considered superficial. You need a big hit, a powerful spell, a siege weapon to actually start chipping away at its HP. If the hit meets or beats the threshold, then the damage applies normally.
Okay, that really makes sense for massive structures. Stops players from just whittling down a castle wall with cantrips all day.
Precisely. It adds that layer of realism for significant fortifications.
All right, that's a solid grasp on objects. Now let's shift to when the environment itself fights back. Traps.
Traps, yes. A D&D stable. Always keeping players on their toes. Ancient tombs, wizard towers, even just overgrown paths. Traps can be anywhere.
That moment of hesitation before stepping on a flagstone. Classic. And the rules break them down into two main types, right?
That's right. Mechanical traps and magical traps.
Okay, mechanical is what? Physical stuff?
Exactly. Things made of moving parts. Pressure plates firing darts, tripwires dropping nets or logs, falling blocks, hidden pits, swinging blades on gears, rooms filling with water or gas, tangible contraptions.
The classics.
And magical traps.
Two flavors there. First, you have magical device traps. These are enchanted objects or areas that trigger a spell-like effect, like a chest zaps you if you touch it wrong.
Okay.
The second type is spell traps. These are actual spells that have been cast and left waiting, like Glyph of Warding or Symbol. They trigger based on specific conditions set by the caster.
So it could be a simple tripwire or some complex arcane rune. Lots of variety. When we encounter a suspicious area, what does the DM need to consider?
The rules highlight a few key things. How is a trap triggered? What happens when it's triggered? And crucially, how can characters detect it, disable it, or maybe just avoid it? Let's start with triggers. How do these things get set off?
For mechanical traps, it's often stepping on a pressure plate, snagging a tripwire, touching a specific object, turning a rigged doorknob, using the wrong key. Pretty physical interactions.
Makes sense. Magic traps.
Those can be triggered by entering a warded area, touching an enchanted object, or fulfilling a specific condition. Glyph of Warding can be really complex, needing a password, a certain alignment, maybe even seeing if you worship the right god.
So sometimes it's obvious, like a big red button saying do not press.
Rarely that easy.
And sometimes it's just opening a book. That's the danger, the unpredictability. How do you even spot them?
Well, the good news is most traps do leave some clue. Maybe a scuff mark near a pressure plate, a faint shimmer for magic, the glint of a wire, tiny holes in the wall.
Subtle things.
Exactly. The track's description tells the DM the checks in the difficulty class, the DC, needed to spot it. Usually it's a wisdom perception check if you're actively looking.
And passive perception if you're just walking by.
Yep. Your passive score might catch it, even if you're not searching. The DM usually rolls that secretly for you.
Handy for the less attentive members of the group. Okay, you spot something fishy. Can you just, like, snip the wire?
Sometimes. If you detect it first, you might be able to disarm it. For mechanical traps, it's usually an intelligence investigation check first. You figure out how it works.
Okay, examine it carefully.
Then you use dexterity with thieves' tools to actually disable it. Carefully manipulate the bits.
What if you don't have thieves' tools? Can you use a dagger or something?
You might be able to try, yeah. But the rules say you'll probably have disadvantage on the dexterity check. It's harder, riskier, more likely to set it off by accident.
Right, cool for the job again. What about magic tracks? Can you fiddle with those using thieves' tools?
Usually not. For magic traps, someone proficient in Arcana can make an intelligence Arcana check to figure it out and try to disarm it. The DC might be the same as other methods, if any exist.
So, Arcana check. What else?
Dispel magic is often a good bet. You make a spellcasting ability check against the trap's DC, which is usually 10 plus the spell level it replicates, or maybe a DC set by the DM.
So, rogue for physical, wizard for magical. A balanced party is key.
It often helps. And the rules really stress rewarding clever play, not just dice rolls.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Like if there's a pressure plate under a rug and the player says, I carefully lift the rug, they just see it. No check needed. Common sense.
I like that. Rewards interaction.
Or the example of the trap chest. Players prop a shield in front, use a 10-foot pole to open it from afar, needle fires, hits the shield. Trap foiled by thinking, not just rolling disable.
That's great. Encourages creative problem solving. What about the monsters who live there? Don't they need to get around their own traps?
Absolutely. Smart creatures will have bypasses, hidden levers, secret passages, maybe just knowing exactly where to step. Finding those can be part of the challenge for the players.
Adds another layer. Okay, so the worst happens. You blunder into it, click. What now? What kind of pain are we talking?
Effects range wildly. Could be minor, like your torch blowing out, or deadly. Arrows, spikes, poison gas, fireballs, falling into a pit.
All the classics.
Yeah. And the nastiest traps often combine things. Maybe a pit with poison spikes at the bottom. The trap's description spells out exactly what happens.
And DMs have guidelines for how tough to make these based on party level, right? You don't want a level 1 party hitting a trap meant for level 15s.
Exactly. The rules talk about 3 levels. Setback, dangerous, and deadly. Setback is annoying, probably won't kill you. Dangerous poses a real threat, could injure or kill. Deadly. Well, it's likely to kill someone.
How do they quantify that?
With tables, mainly. Traps save DCs and attack bonuses and damage severity by level. Setback traps might have DCs around 10, 11. Attack bonuses +3 to +5. Dangerous, DCs 12, 15. Attacks +6 to +8. Deadly, DCs 16, 20. Attacks +9 to +12.
Okay, so the numbers scale up. And the damage, too.
Oh, yeah. Big time. For levels 1 to 4, a setback might be 1d10 damage. Dangerous, 2d10. Deadly, 4d10.
Out.
But for levels 17, 20, that deadly trap could be hitting for like 24d10 damage.
Okay. Note to self. Avoid deadly traps at high levels. Now, you mentioned complex traps earlier. How are they different?
Right. Complex traps are more dynamic. They don't just fire once.
Yeah.
They trigger, and then they act each round on their own initiative.
They roll initiative, like a monster.
Pretty much. They get an initiative bonus. On their turn, they might make attacks, or the effect might escalate. Think of a room flooding the water level rises each round on the trap's turn.
Oh, that sounds intense. Like a combat encounter with the environment?
Exactly. You still detect and disable them the same way, but it becomes this ongoing challenge, often under time pressure.
Very cool. Okay, let's make this concrete. Can we walk through a few sample traps from the DMG?
Good idea. Let's start with the collapsing roof. Mechanical. Triggered by a tripwire, usually.
Okay.
DC 10, perception to spot the wire. DC 15, dexterity with thieves' tools to disable. If triggered, everyone in a 10-foot square below makes a DC 15 dex save. Fail. Take 4d10 bludgeoning damage. Plus, the area becomes difficult terrain.
Simple, but effective. Changes the battlefield. What's next?
How about the falling net? Another mechanical one. Tripwire or pressure plate, maybe DC 10, perception to spot, DC 15 dex to disable.
Okay.
Trigger it, and a net drops on a 10-foot square. Anyone underneath needs a DC 10 strength save, or they're restrained, maybe knocked prone.
Can you out?
Yeah, action
to
to make a DC 10 strength check to break free. Or you can attack the net. AC 10, 20 HP. Dealing 5 slashing damage to a section breaks it.
Hack your way out. Okay, let's do a magic one. The fire-breathing statue.
Nice one. Usually a pressure plate trigger. Maybe DC 15 perception to spot it, or notice scorch marks. Detect magic would show an evocation aura on the statue.
And when triggered?
Whoosh. 30-foot cone of fire. DC 13 dex save for anyone in the cone. 4d10 fire damage on a fail, half on success.
How do you stop it?
You could try wedging something under the pressure plate. Or dispel magic against DC 13 on the statue itself can destroy the trap.
Smart. Okay, pit traps. They're different kinds.
Yep. The simple pit is just a covered hole, DC 10 perception. Then the hidden pit has a better cover, blends in. DC 15 perception to notice subtle clues. Maybe DC 15 investigation to confirm the trapdoor.
And you stop those.
Maybe wedge the hinges or use arcane lock. Then there's the locking pit falls in, lid slams shut and locks. DC 20 strength to pry open from outside. Maybe DC 15 dex with thieves' tools to pick the lock from inside.
Trapped inside. Nasty. And spikes.
Oh yeah, the spike pit. Adds 2d10 piercing damage to the fall. Some might even have poison on the spikes, DC 13 con, save, or take another 40-10 poison damage.
Ouch. Okay, definitely watching my step. How about poison darts?
Mechanical, usual pressure plate. DC 15 perception or investigation maybe, to spot the tiny holes of the plate, triggers, and it fires maybe 4 darts at random targets nearby, plus 8 attack bonus.
What's the damage?
Each hit is a 1d4 piercing, plus a DC 15 con save or take 2d10 poison damage. You could try blocking the plate or stuffing the holes.
Annoying.
Yeah.
And the poison needle in a lock.
Classic assassin move. DC 20 investigation to spot tampering on the lock. DC 15 dex with thieves' tools to disable the needle mechanism.
What if you fail the lock pick?
Brr. 1 piercing damage, then a DC 15 con save. Fail, you take 2d10 poison damage and you're poisoned for an hour.
Makes you want to just smash the chest open sometimes. Okay, the rolling sphere. Indiana Jones time.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Mechanical. Pressure plate trigger. Maybe DC 15 perception investigation for plate and the hidden door it comes from. Once triggered, it rolls initiative, gets a +8 bonus.
It has initiative.
Yep. Moves 60 feet a turn in a straight line. Anyone in its path makes a DC 15 dex save. Fail. Take 10d10 bludgeoning damage and get knocked prone.
Holy cow, how do you stop it?
It stops if it hits a wall. Or you can use an action to make a DC 20 strength check to try and slow it down. Reduce its speed to 0, it stops.
That sounds chaotic and amazing. Okay, last one. Sphere of Annihilation trap. That sounds final.
It is. Magic trap. Often looks like a stone face with a mouth full of pure darkness. DC 20 Arcana check identifies it as an uncontrollable sphere of annihilation.
And if you touch it...
Obliterated. Instantly. No save. Gone! Some versions might even have a magical pull like the sympathy spell drawing you towards it. You might be able to dispel that pull with a DC 18 check.
Yikes. Okay, rule 1. Don't touch the sphere of nothingness. Got it. We've navigated traps. Let's move to another lurking danger.
Poisons.
Right, poisons. Often illegal, but definitely favored by assassins, spies, shady types. The rules give us 4 main types based on delivery method.
Okay, what are the 4 ways to get poisoned?
First, contact. Smeared on something. Touch it, you're affected. Stays potent until washed off or delivered.
Like on a doorknob?
Could be. Second, ingested. You gotta swallow it. Mixed in food or drink. A partial dose might give you advantage on the save or deal half damage, DM's call.
Makes sense. Don't drink the suspicious wine. What else?
Third, inhaled. Powders or gases. Usually affects a small area, like a 5-foot cube, then dissipates. Holding your breath doesn't usually work. They affect membranes.
Tricky. And the last one. Injury. Applied to weapons, ammo, trap parts. Delivered through a cut or puncture wound. Stays potent until it hits or gets washed off.
So touch, taste, breathe, or get stabbed. Lots of vectors. The rules have a whole list of sample poisons too, right? With prices and effects.
Absolutely. It's quite the menu. Should we look at a few?
Yeah, let's get a feel for the variety. Start with something basic.
Okay, how about assassin's blood?
Yeah.
Ingested. 150 gold. DC 10 con save. Fail. 1d12 poison damage, and you're poisoned for 24 hours. Success is half damage, no poisoning.
24 hours. That's rough. What about something inhaled?
Burnt ether fumes. 500 gold. DC 13 con save. Fail. 3d6 poison damage, and you have to save again each turn, taking another 1d6 poison damage on a fail. Ends after 3 successful saves. Nasty, persistent stuff.
Keeps hurting you turn after turn. Okay, a contact one.
Cruller mucus. 200 gold. DC 13 con. Save on contact. Fail. Poisoned and paralyzed for 1 minute. You can save again at the end of each turn to end the paralysis early.
Paralysis is brutal. And the famous draw poison, that's an injury type, right?
Yep. 200 gold. Apply to a weapon. Hit someone. They make a DC 13 con save. Fail, they're poisoned for an hour. If they fail the save by 5 or more, they also fall unconscious.
It's unconscious, wow. Until they take damage or get woken up.
Exactly. Very effective knockout drug.
Okay, let's see. Essence of ether. Another inhaled one?
Right. 300 gold. DC 15 con save. Fail. Poisoned and unconscious for 8 hours. Wakes if damaged or shaken. Then there's malice, also inhaled. 250 gold. DC 15 con save. Fail. poisoned and blinded for an hour.
Blinded, that takes you right out of a fight.
What about some really expensive weird ones?
Midnight Tears. Ingested. 1,500 gold. No effect immediately. But at midnight, DC 17 con save. Fail. 96 poison damage. Half on success. Very insidious.
Delayed fuse.
Nasty.
Oil of Taggett. Contact.
Yeah, 400 gold. DC 13 con save. Fail. Poisoned and unconscious for 24 hours. Only wake up if damaged. Long-term knockout.
These are serious threats.
Okay.
What else stands out? Pale Tincture. Ingested. 250 gold. DC 16 con save. Fail. Only 106 poison damage initially, but you're poisoned. And here's the kicker.
Yeah.
Every long rest, you save again. Fail. Take another 1d6 poison damage, and the damage can't be healed until you make 7 successful saves total. Really wears you down.
7 saves. Wow. Okay, what about pure damage? Big numbers.
Purple Worm Poison. Injury. 2,000 gold. DC 19 con save. Fail. Massive 12d6 poison damage. Half on success. Just brutal.
12d6, okay. A cheaper injury.
Serpent Venom. 200 gold. DC 11 con save. 3d6 poison damage on a fail. Half on success. More standard.
Okay, few more.
Torpor. Ingested. 600 gold. DC 15 con save. Fail. Poisoned and incapacitated for 46 hours. Can't take actions or reactions.
Truth serum. Does it work like in stories?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Ingested. 150 gold. DC 11 con save. Fail. Poisoned for 1 hour. Can't knowingly tell a lie. Like being in a zone of truth.
Useful for interrogations. Last one.
Wyvern Poison. Injury. 1,200 gold.
Yeah.
DC 15 con save. 76 poison damage on a fail. Half on success. Another big hitter.
That's a scary list. Makes you appreciate protection from poison or having a paladin nearby. Okay, poison's covered. Let's shift from chemicals to biology. Diseases.
Right, diseases. Can be anything from a minor sniffle to a campaign-ending plague. The rules give mechanics, but DMs have lots of room to customize how they spread and manifest.
So they don't just affect players?
No, any creature, potentially. Transmission varies, could be touch, bad water, insects, magical curses. Depends on the disease. Some creatures might be immune, like gnomes are to one of the examples.
So a DM could invent, like, a magical rust plague that only affects Warforged?
Absolutely. The rules provide the framework. Saves, symptoms, cures. The narrative is up to the DM.
Okay, let's look at the sample diseases in the player's handbook.
First is cackle fever. Affects humanoids, but gnomes are immune. Symptoms hit in 100d4 hours. Fever, disorientation, 1 level of exhaustion that won't go away until cured.
Exhaustion is bad enough. What's the cackle part?
Anytime you're stressed combat, failing a save, etc., you make a DC 13 con save. Fail. 1d10 psychic damage, and you're incapacitated with mad laughter for a minute. You can save again each turn to stop laughing.
That sounds disruptive. Can it spread?
Oh, yeah. Any humanoid within 10 feet of someone having a laughing fit has to make a DC 10 con save or catch it too.
Contagious laughter. How do you get better?
Every long rest, you make a DC 13 con save. Succeed. The DC for future saves drops by 1d6. Get the DC to 0, you're cured. But fail 3 of those daily saves. You get indefinite madness.
Wow. That's a nasty disease with serious long-term risks.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
Sewer plague. Catch-all term for sickness from filth. Bitten by a diseased rat, wade through sewage. Make a DC 11 con save to avoid infection.
Symptoms.
Appear in 104 days. Fatigue, cramps, 1 level of exhaustion. Plus, you only regain half HP from hit dice, and no HP from a long rest. Really slows recovery.
How do you beat it?
Another DC 11 con save after each long rest. Fail. Gain another exhaustion level. Succeed. Lose 1 level. Get below level 1, you're cured. It's a slow grind.
Definitely makes you want to clean your boots after dungeon crawling. Last sample disease.
Sight rot. Affects beasts and humanoids. Contracted from tainted water. DC 15 con save to avoid. Symptoms start a day later.
Sight rot. Does it affect vision?
Yep. Vision gets blurry. Mandatory 1 penalty to attacks and checks relying on sight. That penalty gets worse by 1 after each long rest, up to Negative 5. At Negative 5, you're effectively blind until cured magically.
Blindness. How do you cure it without high-level magic?
There's a rare flower, Eye Bright. Someone with an herbalism kit can make an ointment. 1 dose stops it getting worse for a day. 3 doses over 3 long rests cures it completely.
Interesting. The non-magical cure exists, but it requires specific knowledge and resources. Okay, these diseases show a real range of effects. Now, cackle fever mentioned madness. Let's tackle that.
Madness, yeah. A serious mental break. Can come from lots of sources. Terrifying magic, diseases like we saw, some poisons, weird planar energies, powerful artifacts, even just extreme stress if the DM uses that optional rule.
How do you resist it?
Usually a wisdom or charisma save, depending on the source.
And it's not always permanent, right?
Correct. The rules have 3 durations.
Yeah.
Short term, lasting minutes. Long term, lasting hours or days. And indefinite, which lasts until cured, often by powerful magic.
Okay, let's look at the short-term madness effects. What happens right after a psychic shock? Duration is 1d 10 minutes.
Right. Affects vary wildly on a D100 table. You might be paralyzed, just stuck in your own head.
Yeah.
Or incapacitated, screaming, laughing, or weeping uncontrollably. You might flee in terror, babble nonsense, attack the nearest creature.
Attack the nearest creature, even allies.
Yep. Or suffer hallucinations, become highly suggestible, get a weird urge to eat something inedible, be stunned, or just fall unconscious. Lots of ways to be suddenly taken out of action.
Sounds like it could instantly turn a fight upside down. What about long-term madness? Lasts 1d10 times 10 hours.
Yeah, more persistent effects, also on a D100 table, could be a compulsion, repeating an action, ongoing hallucinations, intense paranoia, giving disadvantage on social checks, irrational revulsion towards someone or something, believing strong delusions.
More behavioral changes.
Definitely. Getting fixated on a lucky charm, suffering disadvantage if you're far from it, partial blindness or deafness, uncontrollable tremors, amnesia about events, confusion when taking damage, losing the ability to speak, or falling into a deep coma.
These sound like they could sideline a character for days. Really impactful, and the worst kind. Indefinite madness.
This gives you a new, persistent personality flaw, again from a D100 table, that lasts until cured. It fundamentally changes the character.
What kind of flaws are we talking?
Things like believing you need to be drunk to stay sane, hoarding everything you find, compulsively mimicking others, lying constantly to seem interesting, becoming obsessed with one goal, total apathy, feeling constantly judged, inflated ego, paranoia about specific enemies, having an imaginary friend you talk to, being unable to take anything seriously, or even developing a liking for killing.
Wow, these are deep, character-altering flaws. Really shows the potential psychological scars of adventuring. So, is there hope? How do you cure madness?
There is. Calm emotions can suppress the effects temporarily. Lesser restoration can cure short-term or long-term madness.
Okay, what about indefinite?
That usually needs stronger magic. Remove curse or dispel evil, and good might work, depending on the source of the madness. But often you're looking at greater restoration or even more powerful, specific magic to truly mend a fractured mind.
So, curing indefinite madness could be a whole quest in itself. Finding the right ritual or healer.
Exactly. It adds potential for deep character arcs and party challenges.
Well, we have really gone through the ringer today. Objects, traps, poisons, diseases, madness. A tour of D&D's hidden dangers and complexities.
We definitely covered a lot of ground. And understanding these rules, even the basics, can just add so much texture and depth to the game.
For sure, both for players thinking strategically and for DMs building richer worlds.
It moves beyond just hitting monsters. It makes the environment itself part of the story, part of the challenge.
Absolutely. So as you head into your next D&D game, think about this stuff. As a player, maybe you'll spot that loose flagstone or think twice about that dusty lever. As a DM, maybe you'll consider the AC of that barricade or introduce a disease that drives the plot.
And maybe chew on these questions. How could you make a simple object using these rules the star of an entire encounter? Or how could you use madness, not just as a penalty, but to add real, compelling depth to a character or a villain?
Great food for thought. Now, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the nitty-gritty of D&D rules, definitely give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more.
Yeah, we love digging into this stuff.
And let us know in the comments. Share your best stories or worst nightmares involving objects, traps, poisons, diseases, or madness from your own games. We want to hear them.
And tell us what other rules or D&D topics you'd like us to cover in future deep dives. Your ideas really help us out.
We've got plenty of other content too. Character builds, combat tactics, DM tips. Check those out.
Thanks for joining us today. May your perception checks be high and your saving throws successful.